Hello, we are back for yet another edition of our Ask a Black Belt segment. We are super excited today. We have on a fantastic guest. Her name is Dawna Gonzales-Gonzales. She's a black belt out of 10th Planet under Eddie Bravo. She's also head of the women's team under 10th Planet. So we're super excited to have her on today. If you guys have any questions, feel free, post them up in the comments. She will answer them. So take advantage of this opportunity to have exposure to a phenomenal black belt like herself that has not only been an instructor for a long time, she is also a teacher as well. She's a business owner and she's striving to empower other women in Jiu Jitsu and through the art of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So we'll go ahead and bring her on here in just a little bit. Without further ado, let's bring Dawna on and let's get this session started. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hold on, I'm gonna switch the height on this. Let's see. Oh, let's hope it doesn't fall. Okay, hi.
I know, I'm catching like this with your eyes. There you
How's it?
go.
Can you see me?
I
Okay.
can see your whole face
Hi,
now.
everybody. Okay, I was gonna pull it up on my
Hey.
computer so I can see all the questions. Okay.
Awesome. So tell us a little. I gave you a very brief kind of introduction. You're 10th Planet Black Belt under Eddie Bravo. You also are a women's instructor. Tell us a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more about yourself.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I'm one of Eddie's black belts. I've been training with him since. Oh no, we lost you.
I'm here.
Okay. I've been training with Eddie since 2008. So, I didn't know anything about jujitsu. I was taking kickboxing classes at Legends, and like literally knew nothing. And one of my friends was like, "Hey, Eddie, can we take your class?" And he's like, "Yeah, get on the mats." And so I just knew no gi. I didn't even know the gi existed. So when I found that out, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I've been with Eddie for 14 years at this point. I teach uh, I teach all around women's jujitsu, and I travel around teaching women's self-defense, and I train with PJ Barch at 10th Planet South Bay, and I will be teaching classes for him. I live in San Diego, got 2 dogs, been doing martial arts for about 20 years. I started off boxing with this little boxing coach. Maybe nobody has ever heard of him. His name's Freddie Roach. Nobody. So yeah, started boxing with Freddie about 20. Oh gosh, I'm old. 25 years ago now, maybe 6. And then I started kickboxing, and then I found jujitsu, and I fell in love, and here I am.
Awesome. So how did you get into martial arts? Was it just something that you just kind of saw it in movies or TV, pop culture, or did you have family members that trained? Or what kind of
No,
led this interest? Is it just something burning inside, like I want to kick ass?
basically, I've been a boxing fan my whole life. I remember watching boxing with my grandpa when I was a little girl, and I really loved boxing. And then how I found Wildcard, which is where Freddie trains. I feel like the lighting is really weird. Which is where Freddie trains. I was playing pool with a friend in Culver City, California, and we met 2 brothers. One of them happened to be a professional fighter. His name's Layman Brewster. I haven't seen him in 20 years, but if he's out there somewhere, hi. So he was a professional boxer, and I was a massage therapist at the time. So, and naturally, when anybody ever met me when I was a massage therapist, they were like, "Oh, right." So, of course, he was like, "Oh, you should come meet all the boxers. You should meet my manager. Come massage all of us." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm in." So I went to Wildcard and I started training there and massaging some of the people there, and that's basically it. I came as a fan and started boxing, and then surprisingly, boxing and massage therapy not really compatible together. So my hands were like, please choose one. You can't do both. So I had to stop boxing for a while. And then after I picked up another job and I wasn't doing massage full time. My brother was in medical school at the time. And no, I take it back. He wasn't in medical school. He was in regular college. And he called me and he was like, hey, there's a UFC gym. There's an MMA gym in Hollywood. You have to go, because he was training with Rick Rufus in Tempe, Arizona, in Tempe. Dick Rufus's brother. And he's like, hey, there's an MMA gym. You have to go. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. I want to do kickboxing, because I had gone and taken like classes when I went to go visit him. And so I walked in, I joined the kickboxing classes and the cardio boxing classes at Legends. And that's when like I'd be boxing and kickboxing, and I really loved it. And I remember one of the guys, I'm going to drop a name here, Dave Callahan. He just wrote that movie, the Asian Marvel movie with the Asian superhero. He wrote that. Anyways, Dave was taking the classes with me, and he taught me how to do a single leg, right? And I remember looking at him, and I went, that is not information that I will ever need in my life, but thank you. Like, I was like, what the fuck do I need to know how to, like, what is a single leg even? I don't need that info. And then, like, months later is when my friend Charlene, who's a brown belt now, under Cobrinha, was like, hey, Eddie, could we take your jiu-jitsu class? And Eddie was like, yeah, I get on the mats. And, like, I had no clue. It's not like I was like, oh, I would like to learn that martial art. That sounds, like, super empowering, and I want to learn to defend myself. No. I knew shit. I knew that it was the class, after the class that I took every day. I knew that I liked hanging out in the gym, and I knew that that's where all the dudes were. So I was like, I'll take the class. I had no idea what was going on. Nobody gave us a, like, this is jujitsu, and this is what mount is, and this is how you shrimp, and this is nobody. They were just like, hey, good luck, don't die. Here's a fucking twister. Like, so it, like, I think I learned how to do, I'm not even kidding. I learned how to do a Peruvian necktie before I ever learned what, like, shrimping was, or, like, anything helpful. So we didn't really have a fundamental system, like, at that time on the planet. It was just like,
this is what we're teaching today. This is what you're learning. Yeah,
basically
that was the pre packaging of jiu-jitsu, and thinking about, how are we going to get people in the door? Oh, maybe we should have some kind of fundamental class.
Yeah, Eddie, love Eddie Bravo. He wasn't really concerned. He was like, come to me when you're a blue belt. Like, go learn the fundamentals from somebody else. I'll see you when you're a blue belt. So, like, when I showed up, and, like, other people, they were just like, you'll figure it out. You seem smart.
You'll catch on. You catch on or you won't.
Just don't let that, like, when that happens, don't let it happen again.
So you talk about martial arts just kind of being something you've always been fascinated. I'm curious, and I know the list is probably long, but what are some things that you've personally gotten out of your martial arts journey? Like, that kind of helped. Gosh, I know that's a big one, yeah. Right?
Like, where's the list start? I think the biggest thing that I've gotten out of my martial arts journey is it's giving me a purpose in life. Like, I say this all the time when I teach my self-defense seminars, is my mission. I am on a mission to help other women feel how empowered this sport has made me feel. I started when I was 31 years old. It's not like I came in as, like, a D1 wrestler who was like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, this is, like, I'm just continuing my grappling career. Like, I came in, like, as a 31-year-old who was like, I'll either go to the bar or I'll go to this class. So, it's given me a purpose in life and a mission. And it is, wow. I've said this so many times. If you ever watch me on any other podcast, or I don't, like, a million places seen me teach, is there's no lying in jiu-jitsu. It teaches you the very best of who you are and the very worst of who you are. And when you can confront both and own both, it's a wonderful thing, because you can't lie in jiu-jitsu. You can talk your way through anything else in life. You can bullshit a lot of things in life. You cannot bullshit jiu-jitsu. When you get tapped out, you get fucked tapped out. Like, congratulations. Like,
that's it.
That 115 pounder just kicked your ass for sure. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the biggest takeaway that it's shown me the very best of myself and the very worst of myself. Yeah, no, like, I had there was a time that I was having temper tantrums, straight up temper tantrums. 40-something-year-old woman getting tapped out if I got tapped out by a white belt, like, I'd throw a straight up tantrum. And it was right around the time that like, a time period before I earned my purple belt. And I always say that is probably the biggest time in my jiu-jitsu career that I had the most spiritual, emotional, and technical growth through everything, because I felt like I was entitled to be better than I actually was. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
And
know.
I was like I would get tapped out by people who I didn't think I should be tapped out by, and I'd be like, bleh! And a couple teammates and Eddie and like a bunch of people that I was really close to, they were like, hey, you need to get your shit together. So like, I remember just, it was actually my little brother. He's on here. I think I just saw his name. Hi, DJ. My little brother, who's like 3 times my size. I was on the phone with him, and I was being an asshole and being entitled. And he was like, hey, you're being an asshole right now, and I need you to shut the fuck up and figure something out. Like, I don't want to hear this conversation from you anymore. And like, go just do something. So I hung up the phone with him. I called up my friend Curtis, who was running the On It Invitational at that time. And I was like, hey, can I get on your next card? And he was like, absolutely. I was like, I need something to work towards.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, absolutely, you're on the next card. So I shut up. I did. I put my head down. I showed up to every single training session I could. I trained with every single person I could. Anybody, like literally, if a white belt did something that I was like, show me what you did. Tell me what you know about that. Explain that to me. I did it with every belt level, every person that I thought was like mildly good. And it was the biggest growth period in my jiu-jitsu career. Like when I earned my brown belt, I felt that I earned my brown belt and that I had like become a different person because of it. And it was about a 6-month period.
So you talk about, it sounds like you kind of went through like a breaking down the ego, right?
Oh yeah.
And
I don't know why I had a huge ego. I've never been like I've never walked into a room and people be like, oh, Donna's here. Like, I don't know why.
Like no. But like, so you kind of talk, and I think that's something that we try to say, oh, jiu-jitsu, you have no ego, right? And
that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's not true. It's not true. We all know it's true. But it can humble us, right? Just like it did for you. So for my question is, for people who are kind of struggling with that, it's like an internal battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for people who are kind of hitting that same point, where what kind of helped you work through it, and what advice would you give to somebody who's kind of in that same spot? A lot of people quit there, I think.
I think so. I think that's why people quit a lot of purple belt. Let's see. I think the obvious answer is you have to be okay with getting tapped out. You have to be okay with getting your ass kicked. But even more so, like if we take that to like a existential level, it's not just you've been tapped out, right? Because you're going to continue to I'm 5'1" and 135 pounds. Like forever, there's people that are going to be able to dominate me and kick my ass. So it's more about that place inside of yourself that you have to understand, like your knowledge and where you are in jiu-jitsu is a microcosm of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So if you can be okay and deal with the ass whoopings and the micro ass whoopings that come on the mat, like you can deal with the ass whoopings that life will hand you. And when you look at it that way, it's like, oh, I'm getting all these tools to deal with this stuff in my life, as opposed to I just got tapped out by,
mm-hmm.
a 22-year-old wrestler. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen. Somebody's always gonna be younger, smarter, bigger, faster, stronger, better conditioned. That's never gonna. And the older you get, the more true that is.
And the higher you go up the ladder as far as promotions, the bigger that target.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember rolling with one of our black belts when I got my black belt, and at that point I'd been like, oh, nobody goes easy on me anymore, like everybody. And he whooped my ass, and he was like, congratulations, welcome to your black belt. Nobody is gonna like hold back on you anymore. And I was like, you guys were holding back? I thought you were holding back now already. And he was like,
man, I think, and that's somebody was talking about, I talked to somebody recently, and they were talking about like this disservice, right? In some ways, that you either get the people who roll too hard, or you get the people who are like lack of a better word, just playing the little like kind of grab ass games with us a little bit and like toying with us a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like, it's kind of a double, it's kind of a disservice in some ways when you have people doing that. And I guess the question I have for you is like, how do you deal with people who are like really aggressive and hardcore at it, you know, at you and like trying to break you down and like, you know, and this isn't obvious, but I want to hear it from you. Like, how do we avoid that? You know, like what are some ways that maybe you've gotten out of having roles with people that you made you feel uncomfortable, or you had a vibe and you're like, oh, I think they might hurt me, you know, and you're small.
Yeah.
So
One of the biggest things you asked me what jujitsu gave me earlier, and it ties into this question, is it gave me a voice. Sometimes I'll be like, hey man, I'm too little and you're not there yet. We're not rolling together. Also, I remember rolling with this kind of newish white belt, like muscly kid who has a lot of potential. I remember rolling with him and he was just going ham on me. And I stopped halfway through the round and I was like, look, not one person is going to be impressed that you tapped me out. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh, what's up? You tapped the old lady out. I was like, so why don't you like pull back the strength and take advantage of learning about my technique? Because I was like, you're gonna kick my ass. You will absolutely out muscle me 1,000% if we roll hard. I'm like, and not one person's gonna be impressed with that. But use this opportunity to learn from me because my knowledge is there. Like you're gonna get a lot from me. When I have to say I don't run into that a lot, and maybe I've been lucky. Knock on wood. I don't run into douchebags a lot. I really don't.
that's good.
And maybe I'm lucky. Maybe everybody knows me as the 10th planet mom. So it's not like anybody comes at me like, you wanna go? You know what I mean? Like, like it's true. Nobody, if you're like, yo, what's up? I tapped out Dawna, they're gonna be like, oh.
And I think the older we get too, is they kind of like we're not as big of a target in some ways.
It's not like
it's not up, but our
age. You know what I mean? It's fine. Like but if I'm telling somebody let's say I have a brand new girl who's my size, right? And that's happening to her, my advice is you have to speak up. You have to be like, hey man, I'm small. I don't know what I'm doing. You're going to beat me. Can you like reel it in and help me with my technique?
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people. Like, take advantage of this. There's always going to be something to learn. You're going to have your hard rolls. So take advantage of the body type of the person that you're rolling with because there's going to be something to learn from them.
Absolutely. No, I think you nailed it right there. You know, everybody has something to offer. Everybody has different body types, but the way their body moves, the way that they process the technique, how they've adjusted. That's what's so beautiful about jiu-jitsu is it's traditional and it's a martial art, but it also, again, has a lot of room for creativity to kind of be tailored towards us, you know?
Absolutely.
So I want to talk a little bit about you being... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to agree. The coaches, yeah, I think that, the coaches have to be in charge of the room and, like, set the tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me into my question as well, as you mentioned you kind of taking on the mom role, you know, at 10th Planet. Like, what... And being a woman and being around as long as you have, we understand, like, not having that, how important it is, but... What are some things that you wish you would have had that you now can offer to these women that are coming in the door for the first time?
Oh, good question. Well, there wasn't, excuse me, there weren't a lot of women in 10th Planet. So I didn't have, there wasn't anybody's role to fill. Like I just kind of by default became the 10th Planet mom because I was the only woman that was there consistently for about 10 years. So I take it back. There's a couple other ladies, but it just kind of came into my, that's what it was. I would think that the thing that I can give people coming up is, oh, I know exactly. This is the best answer because I tell the people this, I say this a lot, is sometimes I forget I think that people who are so good, like Eddie and PJ Barch and people who are just amazing and on like the next level, I think sometimes they forget what it's like to suck.
Yeah,
And I think that you know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes they'll just do this and you're like, I just can't fucking do that. Like my body just won't do that. And I think that the gift that I bring as a coach is I do remember what it's like to suck, and I've been dominated, and I get still, like, as a black belt, like I'm the nail a lot because I'm so small. And I think that is something that I bring to my students, because not everybody gets to walk in and be a killer. And even when you stick it out to the point where you're getting your purple, brown, and black belt, like, not everybody's going to be a world champion. There's a reason that only, like, there's a top 10, because there's only 10 people that are that good, right?
Yeah.
So the rest of us, the regular people, the average Joe still deserves to love this sport just as much. And I think that that's who I'm the coach for. I think that when you want to be the best of the very best, there's so many coaches for you, and you're going to go learn from them, and you should, because that's what they're there for. And I think that what I bring to the table as a coach, and what I bring to the table for the people in my community, and really whoever wants to reach out to me, is like, everybody's allowed to love this sport, even those of us that aren't coming in. Like, I'm never going to be Bia Mesquia or, like Grace Gundrum. I would love to, but I'm not gonna. So, I'm here just to be the average person's coach. You still deserve to learn all the techniques. You still deserve to get the attention. And that's not to say that the people who are amazing and gifted and work hard enough to become the top echelon at the sport deserve the special treatment, and deserve the special coaching, and deserve everything that comes along with that, but so does everybody else. And so everybody has a role to play. And that's my role. My role is the mom. You know what I mean? Like, come learn from me and be in my community. If you're like, I got kids and I got a job, I can't break my arm every day. I do this because I love it. That's my people. You know what I mean? And I'm your people.
No, and that is a valid point. There's a lot of gyms, out there who are maybe competition driven, and tend to kind of not overlook, but like maybe the focus just isn't aligning with the hobbyist, necessarily. And it's hard to be in a gym that's like competition oriented when maybe that's not your goals. So having people like you out there supporting them in their journey and being like, it's valid, just because you're not winning, going out there and kicking butt and taking medals and belts, and your journey is still valid,
Yeah, and you're still allowed to defend yourself and be in love with this sport and be obsessed with it, even if you are not on the podium every single week. That's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. So you've done a lot of tremendous work with the women in 10th Planet, and I'm curious to hear about what are some of your goals, like bigger picture goals, because you're obviously on the page of I want to give back, I want to contribute to this community. What are some things that you have in the works that you'd be willing to share with us?
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to answer Katie's question real quick. Katie, I coach at 10th Planet South Bay in San Diego. It's PJ Barch's gym. So I want to, my women's self-defense company, I guess, I teach seminars, and I also certify coaches. So women who want to start their own self-defense business, I help them, and I certify them, and I give them all my knowledge. And so since you and I have talked, because I know you have some little background knowledge on me, so because things evolve and if ideas evolve, and that's what happens. So I've been in the process of trying to figure out how to become a nonprofit, because when I do a lot of coaching, so down here in San Diego, not surprisingly, it's a huge hub for human trafficking. So I've been connected to a lot of nonprofits who work with women who are survivors of trafficking. And then I've worked with substance recovery houses. So I go in and I do what it could be referred to as like trauma-informed self-defense coaching. And what I would like to do is create a nonprofit that actually funds the coaching in other places. So like, let's say I have a coach in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. I want to be able to fund training for her to go in and work with survivors of domestic violence or survivors of sexual assault. So that's one part of what I'm doing. The other part of what I'm doing, which has evolved a little bit, is I want to help women start their own jiu-jitsu based, martial arts based businesses, like self-defense focused. There's going to be a point, and we're really close to that now, that we're going to hit maximum capacity for schools. Everybody wants to open a school, when they get their black belt. And like, I live in San Diego, so I go outside and throw a rock right now and hit about 4 schools, right? And we're going to hit that point with a lot of other places where it's just not going to be feasible to open for everybody to open a school. But it makes sense that people want to have a business and be entrepreneurs and have something in the sport that they want, that belongs to them. So my idea is to help women start a martial arts-based business where they can actually become assets to their community and their school. So if I'm doing self-defense and bringing more women into our school, then I'm actually an asset to my coach, as opposed to becoming his competition when I want to open my own school. So I have the nonprofit side where I want to be able to pay for that funding. Then the other side of it is a for-profit side where I will continue certifying coaches and actually help them market and get their self-defense seminars out there. So I'm doing 2 things. I'm helping women who need self-defense and empowerment coaching, and I'm also helping the women who are already in the sport who want to start their own business.
That's awesome. That is fantastic.
I'm really excited about it.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. I think that's definitely something that is missing, that has a place for sure, and will take, women's jiu-jitsu to the next level, by expanding it out more than it has, and it'll, like you said, it'll help those that really need the help. So I think that's really awesome, that what you're embarking on. I think that's a huge project, and it's really awesome that you're doing it and creating that space out there. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with one last question that I have for you. And it's cheesy, but like, what kind of, you're obviously making these impacts and trying to make these differences, but like, what, if you were to look back, like, and you're like 80 years old, when you look back on your legacy, right? What do you want to be kind of remembered for? What do you want? What change do you want to say? I had a part in bringing that change to this world. Oh,
wow. I hope that it is to bring a lot of women into the sport. And I think I specifically mean the no-gi side, since that's kind of my world. When I started, there weren't a lot of women, at least on the no-gi side. So I think that when I'm old, I'm going to be 45 on Monday. I think, in 20 years, when somebody looks back and they're like, oh, and they, maybe see my picture up on the wall at 10th Planet or something like that, I want them to like, oh, she was one of our pioneers. She made every woman feel like they were capable of doing this, not just the killer athletes, but like, I actually love that I'm a little bit older and then I'm tiny. I'm like the size of a child. Have we ever met in person? Like,
we have
in Austin, right? Yeah, I'm not big. I'm like really small. And I love going and teaching seminars and being like, look, literally, if I can do this, I started at 31 years old. If I can do this, you can do this. And anybody can do this. And that's what I want people to remember me for, is like, nobody's going to be like, oh, she beast, like murdering people. I wish, but no. But I think I want people to feel like she made this sport accessible to everybody. Yeah. And B, she made everybody feel like they were absolutely capable of doing this, because I'm so unlikely. Really.
Well, you're definitely the type of woman that we need, pioneering and bringing the changes that we want to see to the sport.
Thank you. You too. I love what you're doing. I love Girls and Gis. I love your mission. We're so on the same page with all of that. And hey, congratulations on your black belt. It's so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And how, how I see it is like, we need as many strong women like yourself bringing these changes and pushing us
I agree.
forward. And we need to continue to inspire the younger generations to want to take on these like efforts and go even further than we do in our time. You know?
Well, look at it now. Like, I was lucky to get a more than one competitor at a competition that we had like every 3 months, and now you can go and like win money and like be a competitor who's killing it on like a huge stage all around the world and travel all around the world and make money, and that was not even available to women 14 years ago when I started. So the fact that that's a viable career choice, I mean, maybe not, like, you're probably not going to buy a boat being a jiu-jitsu competitor, but you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty awesome. There's so many opportunities, and I can't even imagine what's going to unfold for women in the next couple of years. And I'm stoked to be on the sidelines and be cheering for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at some of the highest paid grappling, like Gordon Ryan, right? Who's like banking it. And you know what? That's going to be possible for women too. It's just a matter of time.
There's some girls on the way, and man, these teenage girls coming up, like,
oh yeah. And not only from like a sponsorship aspect, like we're women. There's so many more products that we use than men that we could like get endorsements from, like phenomenal, So
totally.
I think it's gonna take it to the next level, for sure. But I'm excited to have you on this journey. I'm happy our paths have crossed. It warms my heart to know that there are women out there like you that are doing this good work and that are pushing us all forward, because it's going to take all of us,
Amen.
This is not a one-woman show that's pushing this forward. This is an effort, a combined effort between all of us. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see where you go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Thank you for being a part of this discussion. And I can't wait till we catch up again.
Yes, I'll see you. Hopefully I'll be in Texas soon. So I'll get to, I want to make it out there and do some women's self-defense seminars in the next couple months. So hopefully I will make it to Austin.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you, everybody. You have a great weekend, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.